Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking all about delaying gratification and reaching our long-term goals. This is so important, especially in today's time where everything is at our fingertips. There is so much instant gratification. We have a smaller threshold for being able to do things long-term or to see things out long-term. People on the internet will always sell you get rich quick, the key to fast success, how I grew 50,000 followers overnight. That can happen. It is possible. It has happened, but it's usually not likely to happen. I've always had a vision for the long term. It used to be something that I wasn't happy about because I never was able to enjoy things in the moment. So I did have to be able to learn how to enjoy things in the moment. Shifting my perspective, I realized how beneficial it is to me to be able to see the big picture and have that tunnel vision in order to move in the right direction of where I want to be. The most important thing is establishing what your goals are, what your goal is, and why it's so important to you. Remember why you're doing it. If it's hard for you to remember, if it's hard for you to stay focused on something, then you need something tangible that's going to remind you every day of why this is so important to you and why you are taking the steps in order to get there. I remember during the time that I was trying to buy my first car, trying to get my first apartment, I was determined. I am a person that heavily believes in balance, but I do understand the importance of having periods in your life where you are very focused on where you want to go. What I needed to achieve those goals is healthy discipline. Nothing will get you to where you want to be like discipline will. We have motivation, inspiration, boost of energies. That does not last. I thought to myself, what do I need to be able to achieve buying my own car? Well, I need money. How am I going to make money? At some point I worked 2.5 jobs with half being some freelancing. I saved my money. I did not spend as if I had the money to spend. I would allow myself the freedom to give myself, a lunch or something, but it's not like I was buying myself lunch every single day. I knew that getting an apartment might take longer. I needed to establish myself a proper income month to month so that I would be able to maintain my apartment and actually live there and pay the rent. But in the meantime, even though I could not afford the apartment yet, I was still planning. I got 2 big plastic bins and I started storing in those little purchases that you don't think of. I put in some toilet paper, my pots and pans. I would go thrifting every now and then. I would get some bowls. I had in mind my long-term goal. The more discipline you have, the quicker you reach your goal, or the quicker you perfect your craft. Or you might just end up building the confidence that you need because you actually are doing what you sought out to do. Think about where you are today and where you were last year. Are you in the same place? Do you feel like you've gone backwards? Do you feel like you've gone forward? Do you feel like you've made this immense change in your life? I think one thing that we can all agree on is how time flies. The reason that I'm saying this is because when you are delaying gratification in order to reach your long-term goals, the process is going to get boring. It's going to feel mundane. It's going to be repetitive because in order to get to where you want to be, it takes doing the same things over and over and over and over again. Something interesting that I realized recently about consistency and reaching your goals is that when you are consistent, you are going to feel like you are not getting anywhere because it feels so mundane. You might feel stuck. You might feel in a loop. You might feel like your daily efforts are not doing anything. When I was working to be able to buy my car, get my apartment, I would be rolling silverware thinking, what am I doing? There is so much power in consistency. The only reason I was able to get my car, get my apartment is because I worked, and then the next day I worked again, and then the next day I worked again. I did have days off, but I would rarely call off of work. I prioritized putting that money away, was good at my job. I stuck it out. This is not me saying that if you are unhappy, you need to stay anyway because you're gonna get to your goals that way. I did not like that job that I had, but it brought in the money and it was comfortable enough to the point that I could be consistent in it for as long as I did. Of course, with consistency, with things being mundane, with things becoming a little bit more boring, it can sometimes become a little bit depressing. It can be hard to stay motivated. It can be hard to stay disciplined. This is why remembering your goal and what it means to you is so important. This is why it is good to have daily reminders, visual reminders, tangible reminders of why you are trying to reach this goal. You have to trust the process. Trust that you are doing all of these things for a reason. Trust that you are making the sacrifice right now of not necessarily enjoying every single minute of your time in order to get to the place where you are so much happier. It does take time. It's not overnight. I am never going to be someone who preaches that you need to cut yourself off from society in order to reach your goals. If you need a night with some friends, if you need brunch in the afternoon, by all means. But it's also important to know your limits. If you're going to be blowing a good amount of money each time that you go out, it's probably not in your best interest for your goals to do so. It takes so much respect for your future self in order to sacrifice that instant gratification of having an amazing time, but deterring yourself from your goals. The best thing you can do for yourself is trust that you are going in the right direction. Even though other people might seem like they are having the time of their lives, doing whatever it is that they're doing that you wish you could be doing, but you know is not the best in terms of reaching your goals. Just remember that patience pays off. I eventually did get my car, and I eventually did get my apartment. It is the most rewarding feeling finally getting to that place, and it only teaches you that nothing is out of limits, and each goal that you reach, you can reach an even bigger goal and then eventually literally be living your dream life. Am I coming from a place that I'm living my dream life? Not exactly. Even in me just making this YouTube video, I am bringing myself closer to my dream life. I am currently in a place of my life where I feel like I am the most motivated, the most determined in order to live out and to reach my dream life. My biggest goal, that is actually every day but also long term, is raising my kid to the best of my ability. I have a son. If you don't know, if you are new here, I am a new mom to an 8-month-old, and it is amazing. It is the biggest blessing, my greatest joy. But of course, as we all know, when you become a parent, you also have a lot less time to do things for yourself. He is the reason why I am the most motivated and determined I've ever been to achieve my career goals. I have loved content creation since I was young. I aspire to be a full-time content creator. Ironically, I also have the least amount of time to be able to do this. It's so easy to become discouraged, like, what am I even doing this for? In order for me to become a content creator, I need to film, I need to edit, take pictures, and it is something that I love to do. It doesn't feel like a burden to me. It doesn't feel like work to me. I am a stay-at-home mom. I am the primary caregiver to my son. I am with him, I cater to him, I play with him, I feed him, I cook for him, I maintain the house. Like, all of those things take a lot of time. I am grateful to do them, but it also means that I'm going to need to put that much more effort to carve out time and space to create my content, to make my videos. And when I tell you that I encounter so many interruptions, I don't have an easy flow of work, I have to start and stop a lot, and that is very discouraging for a person who works like I do, that I work best in a very like zoned in flow state. I feel like I can be more creative that way. I have had to stick it out, trust that even though it takes more effort, it is still worth it. The end goal is that important to me that I'm going to do it anyway, even if I'm frustrated, even if I get upset, even if I wish I had more time. I don't just think for myself anymore. I think about the example that I'm setting for my son. Just because something feels difficult, it doesn't mean that it is impossible. You can achieve so many things. Honestly, the ones that feel the most difficult are going to be the most rewarding in the end, because you're going to be that much more proud of yourself for sticking it through. For me right now, some instant gratification would be chilling on the couch while my son plays in the other room, having some time to myself, but that is not going to get me to where I want to be. So I carved out the time, I did my hair and makeup. I didn't have to, but I also do like feeling presentable. I feel like I can put my best self forward, so that is important to me. I started this video when my baby was napping. He woke up. There have been several takes, and you know, I've had to change him from station to station throughout this video. So there have been a lot of cuts. This hasn't been a just sit down and film it through type of video. Like, I have gotten up several times and then had to come back to the state of mind that I was talking to you in to stay focused on the topic of this video, even though my head was in other places. Sometimes it can feel like scrambled eggs in my head. If I don't finish this video, what is that going to teach him in the future? What lessons am I setting for myself? What am I telling myself that I am or am not capable of? Just because it feels like more of a challenge doesn't mean that I cannot do it and that I cannot overcome this challenge. If anything, it's an amazing lesson that I can overcome these challenges, and that despite feeling like I can't do what I want to do, I definitely can. I encourage you to remind yourself why your goals are so important to you. With each step that you take, it will become more and more real, but you do have to do the mundane things. You do have to wait it out. Most of the time, huge, significant life changes are not going to happen overnight. They might not happen in a year, they might not happen in 2 years, they might not happen in 3 years. They will happen eventually, and time is going to keep passing by anyway. You can use that time wisely in order to get to where you want to be. Eventually, 5 years into the future is going to become the present. You're going to look back and think, I really wish that I did that, or I'm so happy that I did that. So I just want to close off by saying that mastering delayed gratification is not just about reaching your goal. It is about showing yourself that you have what it takes to get to where you want to be. Eventually, you will know yourself as the person who can achieve anything that they set their mind to, but it absolutely takes patience and discipline. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that it was encouraging for you. If you have anything else to add to the conversation, I would love to see a comment about it. I would love to talk more about this. So if you feel like it helped you in any way, also let me know. You can like the video if you don't want to comment. That is all for this video.